Hello, welcome to SAI Minutes. My name is Fanuel, and I'm the Chief Resident at SAI. Today, I want to tell you about something that we use extensively at SAI. It is called the logic model. It's nothing new, but we are utilizing it quite heavily for all our residents and our fellows and our interns. This is what they see when they come to work with our projects. And so all it is, it's really the logical connections for any given project. So the problem statement. So what is the problem you're trying to address, quite simply? And that turns out to be quite difficult, actually, identifying the problem. Why is it a problem? Who is having the problem? Where are they having the problem? And that's really critical to be able to ascertain that issue from the get-go. Because if you don't articulate the problem, then you end up fixing potentially the wrong thing. And then comes after is the solution. What is your proposed solution? How is it addressing the problem? And in this circumstance here, you get to articulate who the solution actually helps. Okay, and that usually ends up being missed at times where it's too broad. But you want to be very specific here. And a lot of grants also want you to be specific as to who does the solution help? And of course, what is the solution, but also who does it help? And maybe potentially, when does it help them? So all these are really good details that you need to have. And once you have those two elements, these problem solution fit, then the rest of the things begin to fall in together. So if you work backwards here, you're thinking about the so what questions, right? What are the outcomes? What are those intended effects and the benefits or the change in behavior that you want to see given your solution? Okay, and so you want to think about the metrics that you'll use to get at those benefits, right? They could be short-term and long-term. And so you can divide them up and look at the metrics that are giving those. Of course, the outputs are just as important, and people get these confused, the outcomes and the outputs. But the outputs are really the measurable products that will be produced from your program's activities. So these are how many classroom visits you did in a particular season, for example, right? You want to be very specific. You could have lots of these, how many grants you submitted and so forth and so forth. But these are different, right? They're not necessarily outcomes, right? Where you're seeing behavior changes. You could have 100 people attend an event, or you hosted 10 events over a course of a semester. That's great. But then what are the outcomes? You know, what did they learn? The people that attended, what did they learn? So then you begin to get closer and closer to the outcomes, short term or in the long term. And to get to the so what, of course, you got to then think about, so how are you actually going to do this? What activities, what are those actions that the program is going to take to achieve the desired outcomes, right? So this is where you're going to host these training seminars, or you're going to be going to the after school sessions, and you're going to be teaching them how to do X, Y, and Z. So this is where you begin to build those out. The inputs are, of course, self-given here, where you're thinking about you need funding, you need grants, you need people to do the work that needs to be done. Now, do not forget the assumptions, okay? What are the assumptions that you are making, right? The solution, what are you assuming in doing this? And people tend to forget this. It's critical that you don't forget it. And with this, you get your logic model all in one page. You can show people, and it's something that your team can use to look at where, you know, how it's changing. And it's meant to be a dynamic document, not a static document. And so go ahead and create your own and start working on it. Ideally, you want to create this way at the beginning of your program, really at the beginning, and then iterate over time, iterate and have fun with it. It is a lot of fun to build these things. And with that, I thank you for joining us today on our SAI Minutes. Thank you so much.